Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Team Ace Invitational. We've got the semifinals coming up today. I'm Calder, and with me is Wolf. Hey, Wolf, how you doing?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Not too bad. Actually looking really forward to those games today. We have Slayers Ganzi facing Boom Boom Prime. Boom Boom Prime was able to defeat Nesty with 2-0 in the quarterfinals. Really, well, quite a surprise, I'd say.
Yeah, extremely shocking to see that. Those games were pretty awesome, too, and it almost really looked like Boom Boom was totally able to outplay Nesty, something that no one has ever done to Nesty in ZVZ.
Yeah, I was really kind of shocked because everybody just expected Nesty to win that series 2-0, and then Boom Boom, as you already mentioned, he didn't cheese. He actually outplayed him and looked really convincing at that. So today he has to face Ganzi, and that's quite a task for the Zerg player, as his worst matchup is actually the matchup against Terran. Only 41% win ratio with 17 wins and 24 losses. Whereas Ganzi is looking really, really good against Zerg. He is winning 81% of his matches against, well, Karen against subordinates, and we have him with 29 losses and only, 29 wins and only 7 losses. So this is going to be pretty cool matchup.
Yeah, he also beat Curious, so he's been practicing for this specific matchup for this tournament, and now he's been playing against another Zerg player, so he's already kind of in the mindset. Whereas Boom Boom just won a ZVZ, who's practicing for Zerg more, so he's more in that mindset. And Curious is a really strong Zerg player too, so Ganji's been beating some impressive Zergs lately.
Yeah, and I really like Ganji's ability. I don't know if you've seen the games between Curious and Ganji, but it was actually amazing how on Antigua Shipyard Ganji was able to deny the Zerg player the 4th base. I think I've never ever seen, on that level, seen a Terran player dominate the expansion behavior of a Zerg player like this. It was really amazing, and at some point in the map, Curious simply didn't have any money left to build the units, and Ganzi just won the game like that.
Yeah, it's very rare to see that situation where the Terran is kind of denying the Zerg mining so long the Zerg is out of money. You know, it's a very interesting situation to see, and just trading armies like you did several times is pretty awesome.
Yeah, usually you'd rather run out of lava than money if you're a Zerg player, or gas, but well, he did a good job at that, and it's actually kind of interesting to note that Boom Boom lost to the only Terran player that he faced in the Arena of Legends so far as well. He lost to a Bomber in the group stage. So, yeah, he really has to prove that he's able to take down Ganzi, but on the other hand, I'm not going to predict any more results with the Boom Boom playing, because that didn't end up all too well last time.
Yeah, of course, Nesty really surprised us all with that loss. Well, here's some stats further about these players. You can see just the GSL. Ganji did play in the team league. His team got 6th place in the Jupiter division, and he individually played 5 times, losing most of those, but that's not really that important, to be honest, about this tournament. But, Code S, he made it to the round of 4 in October. That's really impressive.
And at the same time, Ganzi is now he ended up in the 3rd and 4th on Code S October as well, with only MMA and MVP coming out ahead of him. He lost to MVP in the semifinal with 1-2-3. Boom Boom, we don't have all too many stats and information about him, not in GSL at all. He played in the GSTL in the first season.
Yeah, he did pretty well in the GSTL, actually, winning most of the games he was invited to play in. He actually did quite well for Prime, and Prime obviously did really well that season, so he was actually a pretty big factor in that, which was a little bit surprising. He got a lot of fans from that here in Korea as well. But in the individual leagues, he's not been impressive at all.
We have another matchup coming up as well. We have MVP against SuperNova, and that's one of the TVTs that I'm really looking forward to. SuperNova doing a good job lately, especially in the Arena of Legends, of course. He was able to take out Don Ragul with 2-1. And I don't think we have to say all too much about MVP. That guy turned on the God mode when he was basically losing to SuperNova at the WCG Korea and won after all with 3-1. So this is going to be kind of a rematch.
Yeah, I really like it's kind of a revenge match after what happened at WCG. So SuperNova finally has a chance to reprove himself here. And it's really exciting to see when a player loses like that, they get to play against the same player in another tournament so soon.
And we have MVP winning against Oz in the quarterfinal with 2-1. You casted that game, so what do you think about MVP's performance?
In those games, I feel like MVP really didn't showcase a lot of his skill. He did Banshee, Tank, Marine builds in all 3 games that he played. The first game he hid Cloak Banshees and just killed Oz with a surprise attack, and then the other 2 games he kind of just pushed slowly with Siege Tanks and Marines, and Oz played really well, but I think MVP just played consistent. His move out was always so safe and solid.
And the first match today is, of course, as we already mentioned, Ganzi against Boom Boom, and the map will be Antigua. This is exactly the last map that Ganzi played against the Zerg player in the arena of Legends in Team Ace Invitational. As we already mentioned, he faced Furious in that match, and Boom Boom now has to prove that he's able to do what Furious didn't achieve, that he's able to take down Ganzi on Antigua. And I really like that map for the matchup, because basically you're guaranteed a nice macro match. Usually we don't see any rushes ending the game early on. So for a long macro game, that map is really awesome.
Yeah, it offers a lot of cool strategies. I mean, there's a fast third that the Zerg can take, but the Terran can also take a fast third, so it's really cool to see that. And the middle of the map becomes a high point of contest, and the players are always fighting over that watchtower, because if you hold the watchtower, you can take one of those middle bases, and you can kind of control where your opponent can move.
I kind of like that we have blue minerals in the middle now as well, and not gold minerals for... Well, it's a little bit sad that we probably won't see Marine keep trying lift off his commands in the first few seconds anytime soon now, because that trick was really kind of neat, but, well, still. With the gold mineral fields, I feel as soon as you already mentioned it, when you control the middle and you have access to both of those bases, it was just a little bit
It was a little bit too insane. We saw a lot of Zerg players try to go for roach rushes, as well as taking that as their natural expansion, the gold base, and sending roaches from there, like we saw sometimes on Crossfire, and that was seen a little bit too much, and that was some of those strategies that was a little bit annoying to watch, I felt, so I'm happy that that's eliminated as well.
The games, by the way, are live, so while in the group stage we actually casted replays, by now the games are being played live, so the players are offline. And I have to admit that I couldn't really understand that some people seem to think that the players don't really give their best in those matches. Apparently some people out there are in the opinion that those guys that are playing today are rich ass and just don't care about the money.
You know, I've noticed a lot of people seem to say that, but I think in this case, some players play better under pressure and some don't. You know, some people at their team houses, you know, when they have no pressure on them, they feel relaxed, they don't do as good of a job. And in some cases, you see people like Marine King do extremely well in online tournaments, I think because he doesn't have that live audience pressure on him when he's sitting at home. He's sitting there, you know, relaxed in his chair in his own practice environment, and he just does well there.
We see that in Europe a lot. Usually in Europe it's like you're participating in a lot of online tournaments, and as soon as you, well, get a certain reputation and you're good enough, you qualify for a couple of offline tournaments, and a lot of these players actually, well, don't do that well under the pressure that Wolf just mentioned when they attend their first offline event, so it's something you need to get used to, and therefore it's kind of obvious that sometimes the performance differs a little bit, but those matches are, as we already mentioned, offline, and therefore we can expect the best from Ganzi as well as Boom Boom.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what Boom Boom's going to pull out here. I mean, he's really being tested. He was tested against Nesty. That was, you know, kind of a strange series that he was able to win that. But Ganji is a different opponent. It's his worst matchup to play against Ganji. So I wonder if he's going to have specific strategies planned for these maps, or if he's going to just kind of try to play a straight-up game against him. He played pretty straight up against Nesty and was able to beat him, so maybe he can beat Ganji in a similar way.
That surprised me, by the way. I expected Boom Boom in his match against Nesty to cheese at least on one of the maps in order to get a fast win against Nesty, and that he would try to surprise him in some kind of way, but he played 2 straight-up games. And yeah, maybe he's doing exactly the same against Ganzi. I hope that we are going to see a lot of great matches, especially very long macro matches. I think Boom Boom definitely proved that he has the skills to do so. But in the matchup against Terran, of course, he has to play a whole different style than he showed us against Nesty.
Yeah, and Ganji is really good against Zerg. He knows how to continually trade armies. That's one of the strengths of Ganji, is he attacks often and he attacks at the right time. So whenever he fights the Zerg opponent, he doesn't try to kill drones, he just kills a bunch of Zerglings and then goes home and makes the Zerg player keep making units. And rather than just trying to get a good composition and do that 200-200 push out, he likes to just keep trading.
We've seen that against Curious as well. He did a really good job at that, and every time his army was defeated, there was basically already a second one close to the Zerg base and attacking once more. And even though Curious did a good job against Ganzi, at some point he just couldn't handle the pressure anymore, and Boom Boom will really have to step up his game if he wants to take out Ganzi as well and advance to the final that we are going to cast tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty awesome. I think whoever makes it through, we've got 4 really strong players. Boom Boom, not really a huge fan favorite in the foreign scene, but if he made it, it'd make for an interesting story. No matter what, we're going to have a good finals, and I guess it's possible we could have a mirror matchup in the finals as well. In fact, likely, but we'll see.
Yep, that second match that we will have later on. And yeah, talking about SuperNova, for example, the second match that we have. SuperNova actually in the last weeks doing an awesome job in the Arena Legends, for example, at the WCG Korea as well. But he was not all that successful in his Code S group. He actually lost. He lost to Jagji and Virus and was therefore demoted to Code A.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised that he losing to Jagji is one thing. Jagji is a really good Terran, but losing the Virus was a little bit odd to me. Virus is not one of those players who's been incredibly strong. He's kind of always been in Code S for a while. He's one of those players that our new format I thought would punish, and he might be out of Code S immediately, but in this case, no, he was actually able to beat SuperNova, so that was a little bit surprising to me.
Yeah, exactly, especially after the other games that he played. For example, in the Arena of Legends, SuperNova was able to take out Nasty and Marine King Prime and Genius in his group. He only lost to Live, a Zerg player. And I was a little bit surprised by his performance against Virus as well. So not all that successful in Code S, and he will have to play in Code A fairly soon in order to prove himself again.
Yeah, I think so. Well, our players seem to be ready. They've actually been in the lobby for quite some time now. I think they're finally ready here. Our first map is going to be Antigua, like you said, and I'm really excited to see how this game's going to play out.
Yeah, definitely. So, guys, we are probably heading to the match in a few short minutes, and at the same time, obviously, you can add GOMTV at Twitter in order to get additional information about the tournaments that are being played. You can add Proxy Wolf as well, and myself at Calder, if you want to have some more information about the two of us and get some info when we are going to cast again. And one of the next casts, by the way, will be on Monday. I'm really looking forward to that because there we will have the Code A once more, and there will be a lot of foreigners participating. There's, for example, well, I still count him kind of like a foreigner. That's a select, so
He's not Korean, but he's a foreigner. He's spent most of his StarCraft career outside of Korea, so he's considered a foreigner in that sense.
And we have Naniva, we have Sase, so this is going to be quite a treat for the international audience.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty awesome. I will be casting like you did, alone in Gangnam. So, we'll be several casters, 3 of us in fact, covering the event that day.
And funny thing is that Naniva, for example, has to face Lucky again.
Yeah, and that's kind of cool because it's a rematch situation, and see if we can pull it out this time. It's really cool they ended up meeting each other again like that.
Yeah, Naniva was already training like crazy just a couple of days ago at the GOM house. Was playing a lot of games, a lot of custom games against Zerg in order to prepare for that matchup, and of course Sasa also is laddering like a madman trying to prepare for his match. And the funny thing about Sasa is he's just manhandling his keyboard and mouse the whole time that he ladders. It's nearly impossible to go to sleep when he's playing.
It's true, man. Yeah, Sasa is actually really, really intense when he plays, but he loves to ladder. He actually gets excited about it. He gets down, he sits down, and that's his preferred method of practice. He's not one of those customs games guys. He loves to sit down and just ladder game after game. He never tires, really.
And everybody in the GOM is immediately aware when Sasa starts to get serious because the noise increases exponentially within a second. But it's pretty fun. So, having the opportunity to check how those players are preparing for the matches is really kind of nice. And as Wolf already mentioned, there's a huge difference in how those players actually approach that training and games. Sasa just laddering like crazy. That guy is laddering so many games a day, while Naniva tries to do some custom games, laddering as well, of course. Ladder's pretty good in order to be prepared for cheese, because on the Korean ladder you have a lot of one-base all-ins, you have a lot of early game attacks, so if you ladder a lot then you should normally be able to handle with all the situations.
I mean, when you ladder, you practice all matchups as well. If you practice a custom game, you can tell your opponent to do specific strategies against you, for example, and you can try to practice on a specific map, but when you're laddering, you see all sorts of unexpected things. Our countdown has finally started here. Ganji versus Boom Boom. The first match is on Antigua. Are you ready, Kaldor?
Hell yeah, I am. This is going to be great. Terran versus Zerg. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The match has started. Terran versus Zerg on Antigua Shipyard in the semi-final of the Team Ace Invitational. We have at the left side of the map Slayers Ganzi starting in yellow. And on the right side we have Boom Boom in the red. The Zerg player, he's starting cross position to his opponent. And I'm Calder. With me is Wolf today, commentating that match for you. Another Terran versus Zerg, and Boom Boom has to prove that he's not only able to take Nesty out in the quarterfinals with 2-0, but also able to win against a Terran player that's shown a lot of good games recently.
Yeah, I mean, I think he can definitely do it, but it's going to be his hardest match yet, since this is his worst matchup. Like you said, he lost only one game, and it was in the group stages, and it was to another Terran. It was Bomber. And we are at cross positions here on this map, so that's going to be good for Boom Boom. He's actually checking right away for proxies over at that third base location, making sure that he does not get cheesed here.
And Boom Boom, I already mentioned it earlier, his worst matchup is the matchup against Terran. We have him down with 41% win ratio. He lost 24 matches, only won 17, and therefore he will have his work cut out for him. We have Ganzi actually saving up a lot of minerals right now, so we might even see a 14cc. I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see him go for that super fast 15cc here, and he's going to make it inside of his main, right next to his main command center. The drone actually may be able to harass that STV.
And here we go, immediately scouting what's up. So now Boom Boom has at least the perfect scouting information. Trying to kill that SCV would be fun as hell if he would actually succeed, because that's going to be pretty close.
One hit left on that SCV, and the drone may try to assassinate him.
Wow.
Ganji actually tried to repair the SCV as well, but then his SCV couldn't reach the SCV that he was trying to repair, so he just gave up.
That was really a close call right there. We have the first barracks being built, gas as well for the Terran player. At the same time, obviously, the Zerg threw down his pool, and we have him with a hatch first as well. Yeah, I expect we are going to see another hatchery by Boom Boom fairly soon in the game. I don't think that he really wants to play 2 base versus 2 base. There should be a third hatch somewhere in the loop.
Yeah, I think he may add a third hatchery very soon. He is taking his gas, though. He wants to make sure he gets those Zerglings speed out as soon as possible. Wants to be able to control the center of the map. Because even though Terran, if he goes for fast expand, he does have the ability to put a lot of pressure on. He can control the map even after a fast expand. So Boom Boom wants to shut that down as soon as possible. Also has an Overlord positioned over here to scout for these gases. So that's really cool. I really like that. That way he knows whether or not his opponent's starting to tech up, or if he's going to go for that 4 barracks play after the command center.
Now we have that double orbital command upgrade in order to get those mules access to the mules, and therefore a lot more minerals. There's the... I think he already has the 100 gas, and he's still mining, by the way. He's still mining gas. He didn't pull off his drones, which is what you would usually do if you just wanted to get that third base. So we might actually see him with a 2 base play for now, maybe a fast tech.
Yeah, he may try to put some roach pressure on. It's also a possibility he could go for some baneling aggression. And to be honest, since Ganji is just sticking with the 1 barracks, going right into that factory, now adding 2 more barracks, but sticking with the factory, first off, he's not going to have very many units, and secondly, he hasn't even started to wall that is natural just yet, so he could be vulnerable to a roach or baneling aggression.
And we've seen especially that roach aggression quite often by players, as for example Don Ragu. He likes to go 2 base. There's the baneling nest, no roaches for Boom Boom. He's going for the baneling nest and the speed. and we will see a lot more aggression in the early stage of the game than we originally thought.
Yeah, I think he doesn't want to play a straight-up game here against the Command Center first. He had two options. One was taking it faster, the other one was putting pressure on, and he's made his choice. 24 Zerglings in production right now, as Zergling speed is about to finish.
We have the Zerg player on 27 drones right now, his opponent on 26 SCVs, the 2 mules of course as well. First tech labs going down at the barracks. And all those lings are now just entering the map. Needs to be a little bit careful and
Yeah,
maybe
he's gonna
just
have
hide
to.
them.
He's gonna have to avoid that watchtower because he knows the Hellion is there, and he smartly does avoid that watchtower. And now Ganji is not going to know this is coming.
There's only one Hellion on the map, and yeah, Ganji is going directly straight for the tanks, and the siege mode is now researching combat shield as well. And here are the first Banelings, 10 of them. That's quite a lot, and 18 additional Zerglings. Ganji might be in a little bit of trouble if he's caught by that unaware.
Yeah, he could definitely be in some trouble. There are a ton more Zerglings coming across the middle of the map. Siege mode is only halfway done. His first siege tank is about to pop out. This is going to be quite helpful. These Banelings are not going to be very useful down here at the natural, but they're going to head up towards that main base now.
To tell you the truth, he will be able to bust through that. Here we go. The Banelings go in, take out some of the Marines and SCVs as well. Here come the Zerglings. And oh my god, Ganji on the verge of losing the first map.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to lose this, man. There's no way for him to hold it. GG!
Alrighty.
There were 20 more Zerglings rallied in after that as well for him to reinforce with, and that was that, man. I mean, Ganji, he tried to scout, you know, but Boom Boom was too smart. He hid his units away from the watchtower. Most lower level Zergs would have just, you know, sent them all the way through, but he actually intelligently had the one Zerg on the watchtower, so he knew if the watchtower was going to be held or not, then he just avoided it.
I really like that move as well. You already mentioned it when we were in the game. He just made sure that he stayed outside the radius of the watchtower, and therefore Ganji had no idea whatsoever. He scouted with one of his Hellions and just went into the main base of his opponent, saw a couple of Zerglings, not too many of them, saw the Queen and just retreated.
Yeah.
And after that, when it didn't matter anymore, when the Banelings were already morphed, the rest of the Zerglings was just heading straight for the Terran space, but by then it was already way too late.
Yeah, way too late.
I mean, the only thing that Ganji could have done is build a bunker, build a barracks right behind the supply depots, but yeah, that's basically wishful thinking.
Yeah, wishful thinking really at that point, and I like Boom Boom's strategy there. Very risky strategy, completely all in with how many Zerglings he made, but it ended up working out because he did it smartly, he did it the right way.
He realized that there's a 14cc, he knew that his opponent was heading for that macro game, and he punished the Terran player. He punished him immediately, he did a really good job at that. And the next map will be Calderum Altar, another huge map, and I'm really kind of curious about which spawn positions we'll have.
Yeah, I mean, if we have cross positions yet again on this map, for example, it's going to be a lot further than it is on Antigua. And there's a lot more bases to take on this map. There's a lot more, you know, flexibility for how many bases the Zerg can take. You can take a fast third, not at the rocks, can hide a third. There's a lot of different options he has. The Terran kind of has he's a little bit stuck on 2 base in this matchup until he can destroy those rocks. But I'm really curious to see what strategies these guys are going to pull out on this map.
And Boom Boom is winning the first map. I'm actually kind of happy about that. We were already talking a little bit about the match in the earlier stages of this cast, and of course Ganji is the favorite player in this matchup, but one should not forget that Boom Boom was able to take out Nesty, and he just proved that he's able to put pressure on the Terran player as well. And I don't think that Ganji really thought about losing the first map, it being a macro map, and him already playing a player like, for example, Curious on it, and doing very, very well at that.
Yeah, and remember, this is actually at a live event here in Korea, it's in Busan, so, you know, Ganji's actually playing live right now. He just kind of got embarrassed in front of a lot of people, so his mindset right now is going to be a little bit stressed out.
And we'll have to see if he's able to recover from that, because it's of course also a lot of psychological stress that the player is experiencing when losing a match like this, especially to an underdog like Boom Boom.
Yeah. Well, I can't get over the fact that this game just ended so quickly like that. I mean, Ganji actually played really safely, tried to do everything, but he just got all the wrong information. You know, he missed the Zerglings in the middle of the map, and then when he got there with his Hellion, everything seemed normal. He wasn't able to get into the main base to see what sort of tech was there, and he was like, alright, this seems like a normal amount of Zerglings we would make just to be safe in case I was going for really fast Hellions or something, and, you know, I guess you probably have a lair on the way, everything's fine, but that was just not the case.
Yeah, one thing you could do as a Terran player, especially if you're getting that second orbital command and you have a lot of excess energy, is of course you could scan, but no Terran player really wants to throw away those minerals in the early stage of the game, and therefore, well, it's an option, but very, very few Terran players really use that.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, our map is loading. We're loading up Tal'Darim Altar right now. Can Ganji tie it up, or will Pung Pung close it out 2-0? Let's find out. Team Ace Invitational.
Just want